Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Cyber Talk with Bob and Chris. I'm Bob Mitchie from Metro MSP in New Jersey, and I've got with me Chris Burns.
From Techie Gurus, I'm in Metro Detroit.
Cool. And this week we're going to do a follow-on from last week's security talk where we were talking about securing Office 365, and some of this applies. Some of last week's stuff applies to if you're using G Suite too, but today we're going to do a deeper dive into Microsoft's. There's a feature called Secure Score, and it's Microsoft's recommendations and a dashboard that you can look at today to really see if your team has your environment secured and protected the way Microsoft thinks it should be,
And what you've paid for licenses.
and what you paid for license. I know Chris has been doing a lot of work on looking at Secure Score. He's got some stuff to share with us. So why don't you?
So I'm gonna share my tab, and we're gonna kind of dive into this. Should be it.
So first off, Secure Score, if you weren't here last week, is a website that's built into Office 365.
Yep.
I'll drop a link in the on the video here, but if you just go over and log into your Office 365 account with this URL, you'll get to this page.
Yep. And you're gonna want to click on Secure Score. When you look at this, we have a bunch of licenses turned on. This is our demo environment, so you're gonna see a lot of different things on the left-hand side. We can cover this later. This is a lot more than probably what you need, but Secure Score gives you an overall representation of your security posture in your environment. There's things that affects this. One is the licenses you've bought, your configuration, but then also your risk tolerance. So there are some things in here that you're going to accept as a risk, and that will affect your score. So it will go up or down based on that. And you may be using a third party to supplement Microsoft 365, like maybe you're using like a third party spam solution or something like that. You can come in here and include that, and your score will go up based on that, because you can say, hey, for these things, for these improvement actions, I'm using a third party. So this is a demo environment. We're not using third parties in this environment. If you look at the score, it's 45%. It doesn't look good off the jump, but what Bob and I have talked about before is, and Bob's mentioned this before to me, he's seen as low as 5%. I've seen 7 to 12% when I come into it. I've never quite seen 5, which 5% would probably freak me out.
Where I see the ultra low scores are people that just signed up for the email only licenses from Microsoft, and nothing is enabled, and you can enable some of these advanced features because at $5 a month, we're just not getting security that they need.
Yeah, one of the things you can see is for your current license score, you can see what's achievable with your current license. And if you're running just the baseline $5 option, this is going to be super low. This has some higher level options on there. What you can see too is how do you compare against organizations like yours? So this is a demo environment, but what you can see is we're right in line with what other organizations like ours would be, at least according to this demo environment. You can also see that on April 14th, because we were screwing around with this policy, it actually dropped our points. It dropped our score 8 points. So each change you make takes about 24 hours for it to show up. Now, one thing we can also look at is our current license score. What is it based off our current license, and what's our achievable score? So this is a combination of both what licenses you have that you've purchased and what your current risk acceptance is. So if you go and you accept a risk, it will affect this.
Okay.
So when you do this, now you can see, okay, the most I can possibly achieve is 47 out of 61. I think right now we're sitting we're sitting at 37. So I can only add 10 to this. I can't even, with my current license that I have on here, I can't even get to 61. So that's why when we look at the percentage, we can't take that at face value. We have to kind of do an analysis. The device one, this is because, like I said, we just turned this on, so there's a lot of you can see it over here. There's a lot of things for improvement actions that we have to take. In applications, we're at 25 right now. We can get to 54. So there's things that we can turn on, so we can get to 54. So we can get to a higher percentage of this. But even after we get to this point, we're still going to be. We're not going to be even anywhere close to 100%. That's not the point. The point is that you're just trying to make this as secure as possible based on what your risk tolerance is and what licenses you have. Because
right, but Chris, you just kind of glossed over one of the critical things I think that are here is that people can look at is the task list of things that
Oh yeah.
the recommendations that are on that sheet of things that people should be doing
Yep.
today.
So we can go
And
through. We can go to improvement actions here, and this is what Bob's talking about. Now you can filter this by based on like whether you want to focus on identity, device, apps, regress the last 90 days, things like that. But because we have devices turned on right now, you're going to see a lot of stuff in here about, hey, you should turn these policies on. And the great thing about Microsoft is once you get to a certain level of subscription level, like Business Premium and Microsoft 365 Business Premium, you get the ability to apply policies to enrolled devices. So instead of having to have a server on site, you could do all of this from inside of Microsoft. And we can create these policies, and you can see each one of these is almost a 1% increase. So as we go through in our lab and we start implementing these, that score every day will increase. We could increase the score 20% in one day just by putting 20 of these policies in. So um, this is really important to look at from a standpoint of let's just focus on identity right now. So what can we do to turn on things for our identity to make our identity better? I can tell you this right here. We're not licensed for this. This requires Azure Active Directory P2, which is a different license, which we don't have. So we can never get to this. That's why it's in the plan state. There's nothing we can do. We'd have to buy another license. But as you can see here, we've done an alternate mitigation here for this. We've accepted that. We have not blocked this because we have something we have to use in our lab for this. But like as you can see, we've achieved on the MFA for administrative roles 7.14 out of 10. That's something to dig into because we should have MFA in every administrative role, especially even in this lab. So again, this is something to look at, and this is an improvement that we need to make.
absolutely, and like I said, this is a great list for people to look at, and if they need help implementing it,
Yeah.
talk to their teams, talk to our teams, talk to your team. We can definitely help people do that. And
You can see
you
the
know,
trends too. I think this is important too. You can see what you've done over the last 30 days, over the last 90 days, over the last 7 days. So you can see the trending. So you can see if you're trending down, trending up, things like that. So it gives you a really good
and sometimes those
metric.
trends aren't necessary from something that your guys did or something that
No.
changed in your environment. Microsoft might have came up with some new rules that
Yep.
said, yeah, we've got MFA enabled, but now we're recommending that you don't change your passwords because MFA is
It,
enabled. So that's one of it's not non-expiring passwords is another rule that's in there.
and the score is based on what Microsoft believes. So the weighted score is their belief. So it may not you may not share the same. The score may not be representative of like what you think is the risk. This is what Microsoft thinks the risk is. Because I've seen some people out there like you should have a secure score of 80%. Well, in most organizations, that's not going to be possible. This still comes down to like what is acceptable risk for you, but like we want to lock it down as much as we can, make it as secure as possible, but within reason, based on what licenses you have and things like that. But 80% score for a lot of organizations just isn't going to be possible.
So the other thing I'd recommend is take a look at Secure Score,
Yep.
and right below this video, right below this video after we're done, Chris and I'll both drop a link to the assessment quiz that we have online, so that you can go and take a look at some additional things besides looking at your Secure Score. Check out the quiz, see how secure your environment is today, and some things that you might you might want to look at and address to secure that environment. And I think that's all we got this week, Chris.
Yeah, I just encourage people to comment on our videos, share them, and give us some feedback because like we want to create content for you. So anything you guys want to know, anything that maybe we glossed over that you need some more details on, hit us up and let us know.
Cool. That's all I got this week, guys. Have a great week. We will catch up with you next week. If there's breaking news somewhere, I'm sure that we will jump on and get something out. Have a great
Yep.
week.
Thanks, guys.